Hello and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock Season 4 with me, FoxyNoTail, here outside of our base. There's a few things that have happened since the last episode. Number one is that we have decorated outside of the bakery, which is the build that we made in the last episode. As you can see during the live stream, we haven't done too much, but we've come around the area, just added a few bits down just to make this look like it fits in with the whole area a little bit nicer. Apparently, I've forgotten to put string over that piece of bamboo, so we now have a really tall piece of bamboo. It doesn't fit. The world's worst bridge over the world's worst stream, and then this little path that leads round to our wheat farm. So all in all, it's all starting to come together quite nicely, and it's fitting together well. Although, while doing this, I did come up with a little bit of I did realise there was a little bit of a problem. You see, this area here was designed to have a town inside of it with buildings and shops and all that sort of stuff. However, as much as it looks big when you look away from it, it looks big and empty. When you actually look at the size of these buildings compared to the size of that, I don't think we're going to fit a whole town in there. So we might have to rethink our plans a little bit there, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry about what we're going to be doing today. But before we get to that, we're going to go back to the Nether because there's a couple of things have happened in there. Oh, and now I've got this shaft that goes all the way down there, which is supposed to be a water elevator, but as you can see, there's no water in it yet, so that's on the to-do list. Anyway, as I was saying, going in the Nether is now basically certain doom for me as I walk out and almost fall to my death outside of this, which is the new thing that Tiz has made, and it's absolutely brilliant. Tiz has been building pretty much an entire deep dark biome inside of the Nether, and it's crazy. And my base, although ignore the googly eyes, I'm not sure who put googly eyes on there, but it is inside of the warden structure. It's actually in the chest piece there, which is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it, even though I do nearly fall to my death every time I come through it. But as you can see, there's a little trapdoor here. I can hop down, I can go down these ladders, and then I actually get to this level here, which is where most of the stuff is going to be going on. Although I need to speak to Tiz about exactly what we're allowed to do here, because at the moment, it's all very bare. Now, if I hop through here and go along here, this is the spawn portal, which has been moved, so that's a nice, easy way to get to that. And if we go all the way down to this sign here, you can see this takes us down to what was the original Nether hub that Zloy made. And if you're wondering why we've got a new Nether hub, well, it's basically because Zloy's having a little bit of time out from TB for one reason or another, and Tiz wanted to take over the project, and Zloy said he could. Now, moving on from this, there's another thing that is in the Nether that's relatively recent, and this is Groover Guy's Pearl Core course. And what you do is you grab some pearls, ender pearls from there, and you have to throw them and try and land on top of the little platforms over there. And I played that game, and that's the reason why I now have 0 levels, and I died, well, 9 times doing it. And considering there's only 9 platforms to get to, well, that's at least 1 death per thing. So if you want to check that out, make sure to check out my live stream VODs on my second channel. It will be on there. And speaking of live streams, obviously I stream on Twitch, but you will see more live streams coming from me on YouTube over the next few weeks and months as I start doing more and more Truly Bedrock live streams over on YouTube instead of Twitch. And that doesn't mean that I'm stopping Twitch or leaving Twitch. Oh, I've got to go upstairs again. Forgot about that. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm leaving Twitch. It just means that I'm starting to do a little bit more streaming in general. I'm going to be doing more streams than I usually did, which might mean a few less videos, but you're probably used to that from me by now anyway. Anyway, rambling on. It's got to stop because we need to talk about what we're doing. Today's video. Getting back to the portal quickly is not ever so easy. I'm going to put that out there. I could do, go the proper way through the legs, I guess, but that just seems boring when you could fly through it and land on the other side in a heap. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be working on a new type of shop that's hopefully going to make us very rich and solve a big problem that I've had. Now, if you're not already aware, in my base I have a sorting system. I've got all of these chests and things, but I also had a ridiculous number of Shulker Boxes just full of absolute junk. I had chests full of absolute junk, and it was just cluttering up the place, and I didn't know what to do with it. Then I had a very, very bright idea. You see, over at Spawn, or more specifically at Chaos Hill, Tiz Tom has his Lucky Block shop, which made members like myself and Jesse B incredibly good at spending diamonds. And it's a very simple concept. Basically, this room was full of shulker boxes that you couldn't open because they were stood in between these gaps, and you could basically pay to choose which one you wanted, and hopefully you'd get a good one, and maybe you'd get a bad one. And some had good prizes in, some had tokens that allowed you to get more, and basically it was, well, it was a bit like gambling, and it worked really well. And I want to replicate that, but I don't want to go through all the hard effort that Tiz went through in actually sorting out what we're going to be putting in the shulker boxes. I want it to be completely random chance. And in order to make it random chance, I needed to develop a machine. So I did. We developed one on a live stream, and I call it the Totally Random Total Randomizer. And what it does, it takes all of my shulker boxes and randomizes the content into other shulker boxes, which will then go into the shop. And as you can see in front of me, here is the system. Now, it's totally ridiculous, it's totally broken, it doesn't really work all that well, but it works well enough for the project that we're doing. And as a result of this, all of my shulker boxes, which took all of those walls up, and loads of walls around there, and loads of chests full of random junk, have almost all now been processed through this machine into shulker boxes like this, which you can see have now got completely random contents inside of. So we would take shulker boxes like these in here, which have all got, like, well, let's take this one, for instance. It's got a whole bunch of ink sacs in there. We don't want to give that away. We want that to just end up with ink sacs all over the place. So let me give you a brief overview of how this works. And if you're really interested in how this works, again, you can check it out on the live stream VOD on my second channel. What it is a clock, which is very noisy. You've got a bunch of shulker boxes at the back here, which is the ones with all of the items in that we wanted to sort out. Speaking of which, a few of these are empty, so let's just reset this machine. We'll flick that lever there to stop the shulker boxes falling into the hoppers below when I break them. I'm going to take away all of the empty ones. As you can see here, they're not all empty. Some of them have got a lot of stuff in. So I need to just replace 2. I'll put the empty ones in here for now. Let's grab that one full of ink sacs, and let's grab another one that's ready to be processed. And I put these on these hoppers here. And then I unlock that, and that'll allow those items to go through these hoppers into these droppers. And these droppers will fill full of those items, and because droppers are random in which item they will spit out, as this array of barrels, spins round and round and round, they will collect items out of each of those droppers, and then excuse me for the pause menu, but every time I click on one, it sort of breaks the game a little bit. But yeah, those items are getting randomly pushed into those, which then spin around, and those are on top of hoppers, which are locked, but they get unlocked regularly. And as those unlock, they go into these droppers, which get random items in, and those also then push into these shulker boxes, which get random items in. So you can see the output of this is just a complete random assortment of items, which is what the Truly Bedrock members are going to be able to buy. So once those shulker boxes are full, like they are, I turn off the machine, I break all of these shulker boxes, like this. I come round the corner here and I put them into these chests. So these are all the ones that have been completed so far. I then go back to this here, I grab another 8 empty shulker boxes, and I put them in front of here like this. And then when that's done, I go and turn the machine back on, and that's going to be another 8 shulker boxes worth of stuff that the Truly members can get. Now you might be thinking, well, why would the Truly Bedrock members bother spending diamonds to get this absolute randomized junk? And the reason for that is because there are going to be some really, really fancy ones in the system as well, with diamonds and wither skulls and netherite and all that sort of stuff. And most of those items I need to actually go and gather or buy and collect. But yeah, so there's going to be a chance to get something amazing, and there's also a chance to get some complete and utter rubbish. But at the end of the day, it clears up my storage system, gets rid of all this junk, and hopefully will make us some diamonds. And I'm sure as the smart people that you are watching this, you've already figured out, well, that's all right having all those shulker boxes full of stuff, but where are we actually going to have the shop? And that's a good question, because, oh, it's bedtime. Hang on a minute. I don't actually know. Oh, speaking of bedtime, you can see this area was full of chests as well. They've all gone through the system. See, I don't actually know. We could have it here outside of our base. We could make one of the new builds like this into the shop that's fully random. Or we could finally do some work over at Chaos Hill ourselves and add a shop onto the big pile of things that's over here. Now, I don't want to do a complete carbon copy rip-off of Tiz Lucky Block shop because, well, A, that wouldn't be very creative of me, and B, it would be a bit of a rip-off of what Tiz Tom's done. So I'm thinking we come up here somewhere, and try and make our build the biggest one on here, or at least the highest one up, so we're getting the high point. And I'm thinking we start building off the back of this Guardian's tail here, and it's going to be called Needle in a Haystack. And the reason for that is because it's going to be like trying to find a needle in the haystack, getting one or two of the really, really good boxes out of all of the really, really junk ones. So we need a design, which I guess if it's a haystack should probably be hay bale based, and we need to build it. And that's going to be the job for today's video, as well as collecting the boxes of incredibly good prizes. Now, it just so happens that over at my wheat farm here, we have all that we need in order to make many, many hay bales, although it is going to take some time because it's a relatively slow machine. So I suppose I better get to work being AFK and thinking about what type of building we're going to actually be building up there in order to have our shop. So here is my fancy wheat/hay/bread making machine. It needs more bone meal in it. These all need to be full of bone meal, and I'm going to fill those up and go AFK for a little bit and get ourselves a whole bunch of hay bales. And now I've realized that I've now turned all of that bone meal into white dye, because in Minecraft 1.18.31, white dye is called bone meal. Of course it is. So I even put in bone meal up there so that I definitely didn't craft white dye, but then when I crafted the bone meal, it switched there, and now I've crafted, well, white dye. Oh my goodness, jeez. Bugs in this game. I don't want all of this white dye, but I know a good place I can put it. Just scooch up a little bit in there, will you, and just have some of this white dye. Thank you very much. Stupid game. And after a little bit of AFK and a couple of trips to the mob farm to get some more bones, I now have 9 stacks and a tiny bit of hay bales, which is fantastic news. So I guess it's probably time we looked at actually designing and building our shop. And then we need to consider, you know, the special items. Also, in the meantime, I've put another row of shulker boxes on top of this thing and another row of shulker boxes in front of this thing's filling up with random items. So that's all going well. And as you can see here, we've now got nearly 2 double chests worth of full shulker boxes of totally random items. Now, in terms of the build, what we're going to be needing, obviously, is lots of hay bales. We're also going to need a reasonable amount of dirt and a bit of stone stuff as well in order to build this. So as mentioned earlier, my plan is to start building this thing off the back of this Guardian up here, and I want it to be taller than that thing there so that we've got the tallest build on Chaos Hill. Now, I'm not just going to build a just big hay bale box. It's not going to be a big square. What I'm going to try and make is a very basic but quite large floating island with a big old stack of hay bales on top, with enough room inside to put all of these shulker boxes and the special ones as well. So it's going to need to be relatively big. So I suppose I better get cracking. No, I've never made a floating island before, so I'm completely going to be winging this as I go along. But basically, I think the theory is just to build up a like triangle or an upside down triangle that's not too tall. I don't want it to be like really peaky. I want it to be relatively flat. And then we've got a base on top of that we can build off of. So as you can see in my inventory, I've got a bunch of different types of dirt blocks and grass, and also got some of this tuff and andesite, which I think might go in there. And you can see I've put a little pile of stuff down there. And looking at this so far, I don't think that looks too horrendous. I think it's coming along okay, but it does need to be, geez, substantially bigger than that. It's very small. And now, after placing many, many, many more blocks, it's even bigger. It's quite the sizable chunk, this thing. It's almost as tall as the tallest thing on here now, which is great considering I haven't even started building the building yet. But I'm still not sure if it's big enough. You see, we got a lot of shulker boxes to put inside this thing, and while this thing does feel like it's a relatively big area, it's still not that big. Oh dear, I may have had a slight boo-boo. A creeper. Creeper just went off. It was bedtime. I flew down here. I flew away from it, to be honest with you. The creeper, I didn't even land. I just threw plastic, but it still managed to explode, which is not ideal. It has blown a minor hole in this Guardian, but I don't think anyone will notice now that it's underneath there and no one can see. Oh dear, did all that just blow up as well? No. That was a cutout for the... No, it's okay. Don't worry, peeps. I haven't blown up the painting. It's fine. It's all good. Oh, jeez. Run away. I know I shouldn't have worked up here. And now, as you might be able to tell, we have grass everywhere. We have a very, very big grass area with only one thing at the top of Chaos Hill just poking up over the top of this, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, I will decorate this. I'll probably do that as part of a live stream because I don't want it to just be completely flat grass. And obviously, we're going to have a building on top of there as well. But for the most part, that's the terraforming side of things done. It's very dark under here. Now, I have put in torches underneath here because obviously it's very dark under there as well. We don't want things, mobs or creepers spawning in there, particularly blowing the whole thing up. And that's used nearly a full shulker box of grass just to do this top layer. So, geez, that was quite the epic undertaking just for the foundations for the building. And that makes me think if that was nearly a full shulker box of grass just to do that, my 9 stacks of hay bales might not be enough to do this building. But anyway, I'm going to grab a bunch of them and start laying some foundations out for this as well. Well, peeps, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The good news is I have the framework in place, excuse the dirt. That's my scaffolding to put the hay blocks on. The bad news is I've only got 2 and a bit stacks of hay bales left. And as you can see, there's a lot of spaces. And I want this thing to be joined everywhere. So, yeah, I'm going to need a lot more hay bales to do this. Oh, jeez. And with that bad news, I'm starting to see a slight downside in my new good idea to get rid of all the junk that I didn't want. In the terms of I've now put through this machine 2 shulker boxes of golden carrots, which means I've nearly run out of food. I've put through all of my bones and most of my mob drops, which means I've nearly run out of those. I put in all of my sea lanterns, which means I've nearly run out of those. Yeah, I didn't really think about what I might actually need going forward to build. Oh, jeez. Oh, well, jeez. Doesn't matter. It's an opportunity for us to farm some more. Coming back to my old nether shops, I'm kind of hoping, yes, no one has actually spent any money, which is not always the thing you're going to be hoping, but for today, this is a really good thing. Although I could probably do with some shulker boxes to actually get this stuff home. I'll settle with 1 inventories full of bones for now. And while I'm here, I'm just going to have a quick nosy round some of the other shops in this area to see if anyone else is selling hay bales, which I doubt they are, and if they're selling, you know, bones, which would be useful. As long as he's still selling wood. No one's bought his wood. Mr. Picklesworth is selling wood. Oh, I've sold a beacon. This is good news. Groover's not selling anything of any use. Liara is not selling anything of any use. Which is pretty much everything in here, which means it's all pretty useless. However, Mr. Beardstone just happens to have an incredibly large shopping area right through here, which now involves going up several ladders, which is absolutely fine. But let's go and see if Mr. Beardstone's selling any of the useful items that we need. I don't think he's going to be selling anything in the bookshop, or the pickle shop, or the rocket shop, or the iron shop, or the honey shop. None of those things are going to have what we need inside of them. The flower shop is not really going to be selling much of what we want. Now, as much as Mr. Beardstone's area is very fancy, and it looks like it's got all of the right things in it, it doesn't actually have any of the right things in it at all. Which means as much as it's fancy, it's totally useless. Oh, thanks, Mr. Beardstone. What a letdown. Well, after a lot more AFK at the wheat farm and at the bone farm as well, I can tell you this thing is still not finished. There's still a lot more to go, but you can see we have a lot of hay bales in place now. I've now got just over 2 stacks left, which is not ideal, but the higher I go, the less it's using because obviously we're going to a peak. So this thing is starting to come together. It looks ugly, but, well, it's a haystack, and hay bales are not the most attractive block in the game, so I don't really know a great deal what I could do about that. So while I've been placing many blocks of hay, I've had one of my many AFK accounts over here at the mob farm, which has hopefully been generating plenty of bones. Now you can see this thing's got a lot of mobs on it. They are all dropping, they are all dying. That's good news. It's not been running ever so long, but the bone box was pretty much just about empty. And we've now got half a shulker box with the bones and a hopper full of bones. So yeah, it could be better, but it's not the end of the world. However, what might be the end of the world is the fact that it is one of my many AFK accounts, but not Big Chicken or Mr. Onion. Well, not that Mr. Onion counts, but Big Chicken is currently away. If you don't know already, it was discovered during the latest Truly Bedrock stream weekend that the moon has vanished. Now that is quite clearly the sun and not the moon. Can't see the moon because it's daytime, but it appears to have gone. Completely. And we don't know where it is. Good news, it is becoming nighttime. Provided nobody sleeps, I can show you that the moon... Well, there is no moon. The moon is gone. And we don't know where it's gone, but it has gone. No, oh, jeez. I was trying to show people the moon. Jeez. Tis. Jeez, perpetual sleeper. You can guarantee as soon as it's bedtime, Tis goes to bed. Right, bones and bone meal, and ideally not white dye, which is more likely what I'm going to get because I keep turning all my bone meal into white dye, which is slowing down my progress, which is not ideal. And as you can see, I'm hard at work getting even more. Okay, fair enough. I'm not actually doing any of the work. Chuck is doing it. And yes, Chuck doesn't have the right skin because he's playing on a new computer and his new computer doesn't have his skin file. So don't worry about that. We are going to go and place even more hay. Oh my goodness me, I'm so sick of placing hay bales already. But it's fine because soon I won't have to anymore when it's finished. And look at the size of this thing. It's ridiculous. I can't wait to show all of the members, except for Tiz, because he's banned from everything because he keeps sleeping and ruining my day. And some more good news. After 2 more live streams yesterday, that's right, 1 on YouTube and 1 on Twitch, we have finished the hay bale mountain. I've also decorated around all of the outside of it as well, but the inside is still yet to be done. Let's have a look at this thing in all of its glory from a distance so you can check it out. There is a slight problem with it, and that is at nighttime. It is obviously going to be very, very dark on top, which means we're likely going to get creepers spawning on it, and hay bales are not exactly, you know, blast resistant. So I need to think about how I'm going to spawn proof this haystack. And one of the things I came up with during the live stream, which could be quite fun, is to just set the entire thing on fire. You see, we don't play with fire spread on Truly Bedrock, so if I light these, they're just going to permanently stay lit and the fire's not going to spread and it's not going to hurt the hay bales. However, I don't want it to really look like a giant bonfire. I want it to look like a haystack. So the other thing that we could do is literally just go around the entire thing, putting string everywhere and allowing it to stay dark. So I got to think about those things. I'm not going to think about those things right now. The other thing I want to show you is from the second live stream we did on Twitch. We didn't actually do any of the building or decorating for that during that stream. We actually went resource gathering and shopping to get some of the items for the fancy Shulker Box prizes that are going to be hiding away inside of that haystack somewhere. And let me see if I can very quickly get over to those to show you. And also more good news, the machine has still been working, providing us many more Shulker Boxes that have all been totally randomized. We're on our 3rd double chest with those now, and I believe these ones, yep, these ones are all getting there. These ones aren't far off. Look, there's even wither skulls in that one. I didn't mean to. Oh, they can't go in there. They've got to go in the prize box. Yeah, wither skulls in the special prize box, not in these. Jeez. Oh, there's more. Oh, wait, what? Oh, jeez. Anyway, right. So these are the special prize boxes. We went shopping to Groover's shop. And we got none of those. That's not those. Where's the ones I got from Groover's shop? From Groover's shop, we got an entire Shulker box worth of Shulker shells, which is going to be one of the prize boxes. And I bought 2 or 3 wither killing kits, which obviously we can now make more of because I got some wither skeleton skulls there. Then I went mining to get a whole bunch of diamond blocks and 32 ancient debris. And again, if you want to check out those live streams, the first one I did on my main YouTube channel, so you'll actually be able to just see that in my videos list, and the second one I did on Twitch, so you'll have to check that out on my second channel when it comes out on the VOD. VOD, if you're not aware, means video on demand. It basically is after I've done the live stream, after a day or two, I upload it to my second YouTube channel so you can watch it on there. Right, anyway, speaking of live streams, I'm about to start another one to start working on the interiors, and hopefully by the end of this video, we might even have finished this shop. That'd be nice. And so after another YouTube live stream, which you can check out on my YouTube channel, we have pretty much finished inside of the hay bale. As you can see, we have even added in most of the Shulker boxes that are going to be going in here. And I quite like this, although quite basic as it is. So coming in from the outside, you can see it's fairly bare. We've got all of these Shulker boxes around this row. They've got blocks on top of them, or trapdoors to stop you from being able to open them and see what's inside. We've got a book that's not written yet, a dispenser, which I'll explain in a minute. And everything in here is made out of slabs and fences because I wanted it to have that barnyardy, farmy, janky feel, which I think has happened quite well. And there are 3 layers. If you go all the way to the very top, all of the layers have got Shulker boxes in, and every single one of these ones are not the star prize ones yet. I'm going to be adding those in very, very soon. However, before we do that, we need to sort out what we're going to be writing in the book, and I need to explain to you what this dispenser is. So, if you're not already aware, the idea for this shop is that people come along. It's not really a shop, it's more of a game. People come along and they will spend 1 diamond, and if they spend a diamond, they can break any of these shulker boxes and they can take it home with them. All of the contents included in the shulker box they get to keep, and as you can see, this one's not full of a great deal of all that much good stuff. However, some of them are pretty good, and obviously the star prize ones, otherwise known as the needles in our haystack, will have some really good stuff in them. But they don't have to spend a diamond and just break 1 shulker box. They could also, instead, spend their diamond and press this button. And when they press this button, they're going to get a piece of paper. And the piece of paper is going to say they can either break 1 shulker, or it could say that they don't win and they lose their diamond, or it means they can break 3 shulkers, or they could press the button again to get another go, or they could break 2 shulkers, or they can press the button 2 more times and have 2 more goes on this thing. So basically it's a gamble. They have a chance to lose their diamond altogether, or they could end up walking out of here with 3 more boxes at the very least. I mean, if they press the button 2 more times and then happen to break 3 shulkers twice, well, then they've walked out of here with 6 shulker boxes worth of items for just 1 diamond, which I think is pretty generous. So I need to explain that all in this book, but before I explain that in this book, I do want to sort out the grand prizes and get the rest of the shulker boxes finished off. But before I do that, one more thing to note about this build is that in the live stream, we spent an incredible amount of time covering the entire thing with string to stop mobs spawning on it. However, as it turns out, during that stream, mobs will still spawn on here regardless of the fact that it's covered in string, because apparently mobs will spawn on string, which is not ideal, but it is the case, so we're going to have to be very careful that people don't end up getting creepered while they're in there. So we should probably put some sort of doors or at least a couple of gates on here to stop people, letting creepers in while they're inside. So as my amazing, totally randomizing machine comes to an end, I can show you that I have made 9 needles, or 9 prize boxes that are going to be distributed among the other ones. Now, these are all going to be dyed red as well, so they blend in, but there is a chance to win diamonds, iron, gold, and copper twice, 2 of those boxes. 32 ancient debris, a witherfight, another witherfight, and another witherfight, a beacon, another beacon, and a whole shulker full of shulker shells. So there's some good prizes there, which is going to make this thing very exciting, hopefully, for the other members. And yeah, I'm only selling them at a diamond each. They get to keep the shulker boxes, so I'm not really going to be making a great deal of money off this, but it is mainly for the fun. I just hope the other members enjoy playing it. And the machine has now had every single one of my shulker boxes put through it. All of these chests that contained all of the shulker boxes with all of the stuff in has gone in, which means these last few shulker boxes here and whatever's left in these barrels is going to be all that is going in. We are nearly there. And finally, as you can see behind me, the machine has stopped. The shulker boxes have all gone. This machine is completely empty now. And as a result of that, we now have over a double chest more shulker boxes to go into our little build. And we've got all of these special ones as well. So what I'm going to do is take as many as these things I can with me, go put them all in there, then go put the special ones in there, and then we're all done. And there we go. Every single shulker box is now in this thing. And you can see we had so many that not only are all 3 levels full, but I've also had to put a load on these hay bales and even a couple of boxes behind here because we just had so many. Now, I put trapdoors on all of them so the members can't open them and look inside and see what there is. But all of the grand prizes are in here as well. There were 3 on each level because there's 9 shulker boxes altogether. And they're all mixed in, so nobody knows where they are. You don't know where they are, so you can't tell the TB members. And I have written the book. And if you want to see exactly what the book says with all of its instructions, you can go and check out this in the other Truly Bedrock members' videos and streams. Hopefully they'll be playing it. So that means this is now 100% done. I've even put gates at the front with signs on to say keep them shut because of the creepers and stuff spawning on the top. So as usual, I'd like to say thank you all very much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this one. Goodbye.